Namo Himalaya, everyone. Let's face the facts. Learning to work with your ancestors is not something we are all taught based on historical things that have happened in the world, like colonization, shifting around, moving. A lot of our practices culturally have been lost. And so, what I'm going to do for all of you is create a beautiful ancestral series so that you can begin to connect with your ancestors and also apply it to your specific lineage. But I'm going to give you practices that are going to help you right now that you can expand on and follow with your intuition. Since I know many of you are a part of the 144, are very intuitive, go with the flow. So I want your practices to also have your own flair on them, and your connection with your ancestors will also be very, very unique. So I have 3 ways that you can start working with your ancestors that are actually super easy to do. And I invite you to do it as soon as possible, because now more than ever, the ancestors are the closest. So they're going to be able to speak to you a lot easier, and you'll be able to receive the information. And even if you are on this page, whether new or subscribed, whoever you are, this found you because you are ready to work with your ancestors. And so they've been calling to you, which is why you landed here. So to jump right in, the very first thing that you want to do when you start working with your ancestors is to set an intention. Intention setting is important for anything you do in the spiritual realm, but really important when you work with your ancestors. Write down on a piece of paper for yourself, meditate with your thoughts about why you want to connect with your ancestors. Do you want to create a connection so that you can simply feel their love? Do you want to create a connection so that you can heal together? Do you want to create a connection because someone told you to create a connection? So what is it that is driving you to connect with your ancestors, to say hello, to bridge that gap? And it's okay if you don't know, to spend some time trying to get to the truth of it. And a lot of the time, it ends up being a blend for a lot of people. They want to feel this sense of community on the other side, but they also want to connect with who they are, where they come from, and they can feel this presence and this calling, and it's time to bridge the gap. And this is something that you can also do, the intention setting, with other family members. And that's actually going to make your ancestral practice even stronger. So if you have community members around you that you consider your family, if you have children, if you have cousins, like whoever it is, set intentions together, because the ancestors are more likely to show up more in droves for you when there's more people, when the intention is really strong. And this can also be an opportunity for you to not just teach future generations, but to also heal as a family. And as many of you know, there's a ton of adults on here who are trying to make sense of their gifts, right? And that's a huge sign that many of us were disconnected from who we truly were as children. And so now is your opportunity and invitation to teach those younger than you, so they always feel the presence and love of their ancestors, of their community on the other side, and that they feel safe expressing themselves and understanding that there's nothing wrong with them. They're not crazy. They are just feeling another family that they literally can't see right now. Or maybe they can see, but it's another way to build a foundation for them. So I highly recommend that you set your intention and also ask yourself what it is that you're hoping to get out of this journey with them, right? Because when you begin your ancestor journey and you set your intention, this is a lifelong journey. It's not going to go away. It's only going to get stronger. And when we start to feel moments in our life where we're like, where did the connection go? It's only because of us. It's always because of us. So when you have something to anchor you into your own beliefs, to your purpose, to your heart space, which is what intentions can really do, it'll make it so much easier for you to transition through this journey with them and give you a reason to always return back to why you were on this journey, right? Because sometimes when we heal with our ancestors, it's not always an easy path. And it's not always something that we want to tell other family members about when you're doing your own specific healing, right? Because sometimes we have to heal ourselves with our ancestors without other people around, but we can still set a group intention to heal as a family. And it's in those moments of why am like, you're gonna have a moment of why am I doing this right now? What is going on, right? That's just our ego. And then we can tap in and say, right, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm doing this for other generations who come after me, and I'm doing this because I want to liberate my ancestors so they can finally rest. So it'll always bring you back to who you truly are, so that you can continue to operate from a place of love and also not appropriation. So number 2 is build an altar. Whether you're new to this or not, altars are really easy to use. I have clients who even use bookshelves because bookshelves were significant to specific ancestors that they wanted to connect with. So they will put things on bookshelves. You can put stuff on tables. You can put things in gardens and sanctuaries. I have many folks who have like pillows and plants outside, and that becomes their place of communication for their ancestors. And the reason why you have an altar, it's like a welcoming ritual to them, right? It's like if you were to show up at someone else's house, how would you like to be welcomed, right? It's a specific place for you to go and know that you are always welcome in this space. And that's why you also see a lot of spiritual people have travel altars that they put into their bag. I have travel altars because I also want to be able to not just have my practice on the go, but I want my ancestors to also know that you are welcome even if I'm in a hotel in another country. And you can connect with your ancestors in many different ways, but it becomes a portal and a vortex for energy so they can more easily find you and you can stay connected. You can, do offerings, especially if you have a hoodoo and voodoo practice where you are connecting with them in that way or doing your candle work. Sometimes you have to have an altar to be able to communicate with them. So it really depends on your ancestors, but you don't have to call it an altar. You can call it something else. If there's other verbiage for your specific culture, for your specific spiritual practices, do that, because I know there are many, many ways to explain this, but have a sacred center for them to come to visit you so they know that it's safe for them to come. And 2 things that I just simply recommend is to have some sort of water on your altar, because water is a portal and that allows them to come in more easily. And then the second one is you can put a candle there. It doesn't need to be a really big candle. It doesn't have to be a white candle, but white is always great and significant to the ancestors. Even if you have a white cloth, that's going to be really powerful. And throughout your journey, I would, clean your altar as much as you can, have really good spiritual hygiene, and leave things for them. You can also put items of these ancestors if you want to, but sometimes if you are connecting with your ancestors on a very broad level, you don't have to put things out there that belong to specific ancestors in order to connect with the ancestors. The ones who want to connect with you will step forward. They may not be your immediate ones, but ancestors will start to step forward, and they may have some significance around what you're going through there during this time in your life, or maybe these ancestors are ready to heal. But just know that there's no right or wrong way for you to build your altar. These are just practices that are going to make it easier for you to facilitate the communication. And so thirdly, I would write on a piece of paper some sort of permission that you are giving to your ancestors. And if you don't want to write on a piece of paper, you can also meditate with this, speak it out loud. That's also something that's really strong in hoodoo. Like, we use vocalization to like impress power or like push energy more. So I would write down like a really beautiful letter to your ancestors, along with your intention that say you give them the permission to partake in your life, to show up in your life, to speak to you through your clairs if you want to. Permission is something that's really big. Especially for folks who come from marginalized groups, like folks of color, since having our permission taken away is something that has happened historically for a very, very, very long time. Many ancestors, unless you have said like, oh, I'm just really open to it, or your energy has said that and sent it to them, they will stay back, especially if they sense a little bit of fear, as well, because they don't want to intimidate you, they don't want to scare you, and they know where you're at on your journey. And so it's a really sweet thing for you to do, to give them permission to be in your life. And you can also add like those of the highest vibrational light and frequency, I give you permission to show up in my life. And you can specify whichever way you want them to communicate with you. And this is also a beautiful way for you to begin your healing journey with the ancestors as well, right? So that you yourself are giving permission, right? You're allowing something for yourself, and you're also allowing the ancestors into a space where historically spirituality has been taken from them, which is why many of us are relearning our clairs, as I mentioned before. So it's very, very healing on both sides to have a very open practice where you can consistently give permission and have that flow of communication. And you're also saying to the universe that I'm ready for this new journey, I'm ready for this healing, I'm ready for whatever comes next. And you build that safety within yourself, and knowing that this is your decision, I'm ready to receive, let's go for it. So hopefully these were helpful. Let me know below if you are wanting more coaching or have questions around anything spirituality. Please come join me in Z's School for the Gifted. I have a couple classes throughout the week. Book your spot ahead of time. They've been filling up really quickly, and I'm just super excited. It's been the most beautiful journey. And even if you don't have questions, come cozy, come hang out. You can just take notes. There's always a ton of information that is shared. And usually if you feel called to show up to that session, there's probably a reason why, and you will receive many, many messages either from your ancestors or from your guides in general. And we also work with land spirits. We kind of call in all of the energy to help you, and I will coach you live and share anything that I think will be helpful for you on your journey as someone who's also a medium and an energy healer. So I may pick up on stuff that needs to come with you. And you know, something that happened recently, someone didn't have a question, but they said the ancestors told me I should ask you about a time spell. And I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I could see the vision of what they were saying. And so when you get together as a community of gifted people, you can really start to create this healing atmosphere, all of this magic, and just assist each other in as much way as possible and build community, because it's about time that all of us get together and just send lots of love, not just to our own selves, but our community and out into the world. And I want to make sure that you know how to use your gifts in a very ethical way, a safe way, have your ancestors there, spirit guides with you every step of the way, so you can receive your prosperity and go be the light warrior that I know many of you are. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm sending lots of love and lots of hugs. Don't forget to check out the community page. I'm dropping lots of things and announcements in there for stuff that is coming. So always frequently check there. But again, sending you lots of love. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health, get lots of rest, and hopefully I will see you at the next session.